If Caitlin Clark is on the team, it becomes the right team. Because Caitlin Clark is on it. It's like saying Michael Jordan's not on the right team.
In what looks to be, you can see there's a stage. Oh my God, they're not even playing on in a basketball gym. They're literally playing in like what looks to be an auditorium.
You know what's crazy? UConn used to pack arenas. Now they're lucky to get 6,000 fans. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's drawing 15,000 at Iowa. What happened? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. Geno Auriemma's fuming. His team's struggling to fill seats while Clark's become the face of women's basketball. But here's the kicker. Auriemma didn't even recruit her. Talk about a missed opportunity. Let's dig into how UConn lost its crown and if Paige Bueckers can save them. UConn used to be the hottest ticket in women's basketball. Fans would line up for hours just to get a glimpse of the Huskies in action. But now, it's like someone hit the mute button on their arena.
Doing all that talking online, but when it comes to the proof, it is in the pudding. When it comes to the numbers, when it comes to the black and the white.
Paige Bueckers goes to the Bahamas, 500 people. And repeat, 500. 500 people. They are playing.
Picture this. It's 2016 and UConn's racking up national championships like they're going out of style. The stands are packed, the energy's electric. Fast forward to today, and you can hear a pin drop during their games. What happened? Here's something that'll blow your mind. UConn just played a game in the Bahamas. Guess how many people showed up? 567. That's not a typo, folks. 567 people in a tropical paradise for a team that used to sell out arenas. Meanwhile, Iowa's packing in 15,000 fans per game. And get this, they're doing it even when Caitlin Clark's not on the court. It's like the basketball gods flipped a switch overnight. So what's the deal? Did UConn forget how to play basketball? Did they anger the sports spirits? Nah, it's not that simple. The answer comes down to one person, Caitlin Clark. And Geno Auriemma? He's kicking himself over a decision he made years ago. You see, UConn's fall from grace isn't just about losing games. It's about losing the spotlight. And while they were busy trying to hold on to their crown, Clark swooped in and stole the show. Now, Auriemma's left wondering how he missed the biggest talent in women's basketball. Talk about a game changer, huh? Remember when Caitlin Clark was just another high school player? Yeah, me neither. This girl was a phenomenon from day one. We're talking deep threes that made jaws drop and no-look passes that left defenders spinning.
Just because fans of Caitlin Clark will pay to see her play. Like, that's the reality situation. Is it's nothing to, there's never blame the consumer or the viewer for what they like.
Geno Auriemma, Caitlin Clark again. The world turns. It's Caitlin Clark's world. We just live on planet Caitlin.
Clark wasn't just good. She was rewriting the playbook. You'd think every college coach would be fighting to get her, right? Well, almost every coach was, except one, Geno Auriemma. The mastermind behind UConn's dynasty didn't even offer Clark a scholarship. Can you believe it? The guy who built a powerhouse missed out on the biggest talent in a generation. Here's where it gets wild. Clark ended up at Iowa, and she turned the entire state into basketball central. But how did she go from high school standout to the face of college hoops? It wasn't just her insane stats. It was how she played. Every game was like a highlight reel. People who never cared about women's basketball were suddenly glued to their screens just waiting to see what Clark would do next. And while Clark was lighting up arenas, UConn was struggling to fill seats. Talk about a plot twist. Clark wasn't just breaking records.
Are you in the black? Or are you in the red? Are you showing up? Or are you bluffing?
Touching the ball or not, you have to guard her when she steps into the gym. And so I don't think we've seen anything like that in women's basketball. I've played against a number of great shooters.
She was leading the country in points and assists per game. She became the all-time leading scorer in Division I basketball. That's not just good, that's legendary. But here's the kicker. Clark used to dream about playing for UConn. She loved them, Thought they were the coolest place on earth. Now she's the reason everyone's watching women's basketball, and UConn's left wondering what could have been. It's like the basketball gods flipped the script overnight and Clark's holding the pen. The tables have turned, and UConn's no longer the center of attention. But Geno Auriemma, he's not giving up without a fight. You won't believe the move he's making to try and stay relevant in this new era of women's basketball. Geno's not the type to admit he's wrong, but you can bet he's kicking himself over missing out on Caitlin Clark. And now, he's singing her praises like she's the second coming of basketball Jesus. We're talking generational talent and game-changer levels of hype. But here's where it gets juicy. Some folks are wondering if Geno's newfound love for Clark isn't just about basketball, it's about cold, hard cash. See,
they're like, oh, the fans need to spend more money. The reality is fans need to spend money the way they want to spend money. If a fan wants to see a player, they can see a player. Like, it's not the fault of a fan.
Everybody that when they walk in the gym, you have to guard them. And I think the way the game is played has allowed her to showcase that skill, to be able to take that shot. That shot's being a good shot.
Geno's got his fingers in this new 3-on-3 basketball league called Unrivaled. And guess who they wanted as their poster girl? Yep, Caitlin Clark. Now picture this. Unrivaled comes at Clark with a fat contract. We're talking over $1 million. But Clark, she says thanks, but no thanks. She needs a break after her crazy senior year and upcoming WNBA rookie season. Can you imagine Geno's face when he heard that news? So now, Geno's left scrambling. He's got to save UConn's reputation and keep his new league afloat. But it's not just about missing out on Clark. It's about what she represents. A future where UConn isn't the top dog anymore. You know what's wild? Geno's starting to change his tune. He's talking more about teamwork now.
And in some instances, teams chose to actually move games to larger venues to accommodate the fanfare of Caitlin coming to town.
Yesterday, in a game in the Bahamas, UConn played for 567 people.
Saying they can't just rely on stars like Paige Bueckers. It's like he's finally realizing the game's changing, and he's got to change with it. The question is, can he do it fast enough to keep UConn in the spotlight? Or is this the end of an era? Here's the deal. Women's basketball isn't just UConn's playground anymore. Caitlin Clark came in like a tornado and shook everything up. Now everyone's trying to catch up, and UConn? They're feeling the heat. Geno Auriemma's got to be sweating. His team used to be the big show in town, but now they're just another act. It's like they went from headlining Madison Square Garden to playing at the local high school gym. Can you believe it?
Biggest draw in American sports today, CC22, Caitlin Clark Kent. That's just the truth.
One, they fall in love with all my players because of the way they play and the way they conduct themselves. And they go, yeah, he really is a shithead.
But here's the thing, UConn's not done yet. They've got Paige Bueckers back, and she's hungry. You know what's wild? Bueckers might be their lifeline. If she comes back strong, UConn could climb back to the top. But if not, we might be watching the end of a dynasty. So what's next for UConn? Can they adapt to this new world where one player can change everything? Or is their time in the spotlight over? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. Women's basketball is more exciting than ever.